The restaurant was silent for a heartbeat, the kind of silence that comes after something unbelievable has just happened. All eyes turned toward the young waitress standing near the billionaire's table. Her voice had just cut through the air like a blade, calm, fluent, and filled with the kind of confidence that can't be faked. Moments ago, they were laughing at her accent. Now they were speechless because she had just spoken in 5 languages flawlessly. Before we dive into this unforgettable story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know. Amelia was 24, a waitress in an upscale restaurant known for its chandeliers, fine china, and wealthy clientele. She moved quietly between the tables, her white apron spotless, her smile soft but distant like someone who had learned to hide her dreams behind polite nods. Every night, she watched the glittering world of the rich, laughter, luxury, and effortless arrogance from just outside its edge. She wasn't supposed to be here. Back home, she had been a top student of linguistics, fluent in 6 languages before she turned 20. But life has a way of changing directions when you least expect it. After her father's sudden illness and her mother's endless hospital bills, Amelia left her university and took the first job she could find. The world didn't care about her degrees, it cared that she could carry plates and smile. That evening, the restaurant was fully booked. A group of elite business people had taken the central table, 2 older men in sharp blue suits, and 2 elegantly dressed women. Among them was Richard Callahan, a billionaire investor with a reputation for being ruthless in business and colder in heart. His wife, Victoria, was equally famous for her charm and her sharp tongue. When Amelia approached their table with a tray of appetizers, she could already feel the tension. The conversation had shifted from polite laughter to sharp whispers. The older woman in pink, Victoria, was arguing with another woman across the table, their voices rising. Amelia tried to stay invisible, as waitresses do, until Victoria's frustration turned toward her. "Excuse me," Victoria snapped, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "We've been waiting forever. Do you people even understand English in this place?" The word stung. The tone was sharper than the question. Amelia opened her mouth to apologize, but her voice trembled slightly, the one sign of her exhaustion after a 12-hour shift. Victoria smirked. "Oh, wonderful. Another one who can't even speak properly. Translate this if you can. Service means doing your job right." The table laughed. Even Richard chuckled under his breath, though he didn't look proud of it. Amelia froze for a moment, the humiliation biting into her chest like ice. The restaurant had gone quiet. Everyone was watching. But then something shifted in her eyes. The fear faded, replaced by something stronger, quiet dignity. She straightened her back, placed the tray down gently, and spoke, not in English but in French. "Madame," she said softly, "je comprends très bien ce que vous dites. Et je vous conseille de choisir vos mots avec un peu plus de respect." The table fell silent. Victoria blinked, confused. Richard frowned. What did she just say? Before anyone could answer, Amelia continued, switching seamlessly to Italian, then Spanish, then German, each sentence flowing perfectly, her tone calm, her accent flawless. Every word was like a mirror, reflecting back the arrogance she had just faced. By the time she ended in Mandarin, the room had gone still. The pianist had even stopped mid-song. Finally, she returned to English, her voice clear and steady. "You wanted me to translate, ma'am. I believe I've done that in 5 languages. Now, would you prefer your salmon grilled or baked?" For a moment, nobody moved. The guests at nearby tables began whispering, phones subtly raised to capture the scene. Richard's expression softened, not with anger but something else. Respect, maybe, or regret. Victoria's cheeks burned. She looked away, pretending to adjust her napkin, but everyone knew she had been put in her place, not by rudeness but by grace. The older man beside Richard, his business partner, laughed softly. "Well," he said, "looks like someone finally found a way to humble you, Richard." Richard didn't respond. He was watching Amelia as she calmly served the next dish, as if nothing had happened. There was something about her composure, the way she carried herself, even after being humiliated, that unsettled him. After dinner, when the guests were leaving, Richard stopped by the counter. "You," he said quietly, "you studied languages." Amelia hesitated, unsure if it was a trap. "Yes, sir, I did, at Oxford before my father fell ill." He nodded slowly. "Oxford, that's impressive. You're overqualified for this job." She smiled faintly. "I'm overqualified for a lot of things these days, sir." There was a pause, long and heavy with unspoken understanding. Richard took out his card and placed it on the counter. "Come to my office tomorrow. I think we need someone like you on our team." Amelia stared at the card. It felt unreal, like the universe had suddenly changed its mind about her. The next day she stood in front of a glass tower that stretched into the clouds. Callahan Global. Inside, everything gleamed: marble floors, crystal elevators, people who walked like they owned time. Amelia's hands trembled slightly as she stepped inside. Richard was waiting for her in his office, overlooking the city skyline. He wasn't the arrogant billionaire from last night. Today, he looked thoughtful, almost humbled. "I owe you an apology," he said. "My wife can be difficult. What you did last night, that took courage." Amelia smiled politely. "It wasn't courage, sir, just self-respect." He nodded, impressed. Then he leaned back. "I need a translator for a project, someone who can handle multiple languages and people. You interested?" She hesitated. "Sir, I'm just a waitress." Richard smiled faintly. "Not anymore." That was the day Amelia's life changed. If this story has touched your heart so far, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know. Months passed. Amelia traveled with Richard's company across continents: Paris, Rome, Beijing, serving as a bridge between cultures, businesses, and people. Every meeting she translated wasn't just about language. It was about connection, empathy, and understanding. Richard often found himself watching her in meetings, admiring how she spoke with respect, no matter who she faced. He once told her, "You remind me what real intelligence looks like: not money, not power, but grace under fire." And one evening, during a major international conference, the same investors who once mocked her in the restaurant stood again across from her. Now, she was the one leading the conversation, while Richard proudly introduced her as head of global communications. Victoria, who stood beside him, smiled awkwardly. "I suppose we started off badly," she murmured. Amelia smiled softly. "No, ma'am. We started exactly where we needed to. It taught us both something valuable." The applause that followed wasn't just for her words. It was for her journey, from a waitress serving tables to a woman commanding respect with the strength of her intellect and dignity. When Amelia later looked out from her office window that night, the city lights reflected in her eyes. She thought of her father, who had once told her, "Education is never wasted, it's just waiting for the right moment to be seen." And in that moment, she knew the world can try to silence you, but your worth will always find a way to speak. Sometimes, even in 5 languages. No matter where you start, what matters is how you carry yourself when the world doubts you. Respect, humility, and courage, those are the languages everyone understands.